everyone, my name is Sofía Melgar. I'm a third year student at la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Honduras. And the topic I would like to share today is why chemical engineering? To be honest, once you get to know the profession, the better question is really, why not chemical engineering?
Whoa, that is how you start a gala. Hello, AIChE and friends. I am Simone D. Ross, and I am so excited to be your MC for the evening. Welcome to the 2020 AIChE Virtual Gala. I'm joining you live from, well, my home office in Denver, Colorado. But I couldn't be happier to be here with you tonight. Let me tell you why. So, I have a theory. And my theory is this: the future generation of leaders are going to change the planet. My theory states that this next generation of leaders and scholars, chemical engineers, is going to make everything we do, everything that we have been accustomed to doing, bigger and better, more efficient than ever. And I've arrived at this theory because, well, I'm a mom of an amazing 11-year-old boy, and I watch how he interacts in the world every single day. And I say to myself, hey, this kid is about to change things. And I know everybody thinks their kid is cool and all that good stuff. But what makes him really cool is that he wants to be a chemical engineer so that he can change things, so that he can protect the environment, so that he can make my life and your life better. But here's the other theory I have. In order for the future generation, my son included, to be able to make this planet the amazing and better place that I know they're going to make it, they need us here, today, tonight. They need AIChE and its friends and stakeholders and supporters to be there, to stand with them, to say, I support you. So thank you for letting me share my theories. And really, that's what brought me to be your MC this evening, is that I know we're all together tonight because we believe in the work of AIChE, and we believe that future generations are going to change the world, and it's our job to support them in doing so. Okay, I know you all will agree with me. It has been a year. Whoa. I bet we're also all ready for a change. And that is what this evening's gala is all about. Tonight's theme is the night that changes everything. Now, I know, that sounds like quite a claim. But bear with us, because over the next hour, we have an incredible program in store for you. And it's going to lead up to an announcement that really will change everything. So do me a quick favor. Pour yourself a cocktail or your favorite beverage. Grab a snack, but don't go more than 6 feet away from your screen. Because tonight, we are here to celebrate the changemakers. We're here to celebrate the chemical engineers and organizations that are making the world safer, healthier, and more livable for all of us. We'll also learn how they are making the engineering profession more equitable, diverse, and inclusive. They are truly doing a world of good. But before we begin, let me give you some quick tips on how to do this whole virtual gala thing in this virtual setting. You'll be able to mingle within the community or ask questions by using the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. So introduce yourself, tell us where you are, tell us about your work. Also, another way to share and to commemorate the evening is to visit our gala photo booth. That can be found at the top of your screen. All you have to do is take a selfie, pose, and post it using the hashtag 2020 AICHE Gala or hashtag all for good. And speaking of good, let's meet our first changemaker.
What I find so exciting about chemical engineering is that it's truly multidisciplinary. It lies at the interface of math, chemistry, physics, biology, material science, and other engineering disciplines. Chemical engineering was interdisciplinary before being interdisciplinary was a thing. And as a result, it combines diverse perspectives, ideas, tools and techniques, and people. And that's what makes it so fun to be a part of.
Hello again. This annual Doing a World of Good Gala has become one of the AICHE Foundation's most important fundraisers. And this year's gala is so very special because for the first time, we're able now to open the festivities to the entire community. Of course, a gala wouldn't be a gala without giving back. And so by making a donation this evening, you too will become a change maker. Many organizations have already partnered with AICHE in support of this year's gala. With the world in need of engineering solutions, AICHE is committed to a workforce that represents the full breadth of talent and perspectives. That's why tonight all donations will support students from underrepresented communities. These students are pursuing an education and career in STEM. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. A Donate Now button is at the top of your screen. And remember, when it comes to being a change maker, there is no such thing as small change. Now, let's meet AICHE's 2020 president, Monty Alger.
Thank you, Simone, and hello, everyone. I think we can all agree that it's been a truly remarkable year. For many of us, 2020 has been the year that changed everything. So it's really great to see our community joining together to celebrate good things and talk about positive change. At AICHE, we've had to change the way we interact with many of our communities, with tonight's gala being only the latest example. We've discovered positive, inclusive sides to online gatherings, with our virtual events helping us reach many new audiences, and that includes tonight's gala. So this has been a year of change for all of us, and change and transformation are at the heart of the AICHE Foundation's Doing a World of Good campaign. The need to support change is the reason for tonight's fundraising gala, and it's why we're asking the community for your continued support. Doing a World of Good is built around priorities that chemical engineers tell us are imperative for advancing the profession. Some of these include support for research and innovation. AICHE's projects are advancing game-changing technologies and innovations and improving chemical engineering's ability to address a diversity of needs in healthcare, energy, food, water, and much more. It's about changing perceptions, opening the eyes and minds of the public, in particular young people, to show them not only how engineering has enabled the way of life they enjoy, but also how engineering can help address many of the challenges we face today. It's about education and career development, underlying objectives of AICHE since its founding more than a century ago. It's about safety and ethical practice, areas that you'll hear more about later in the program. And it's about creating a profession that not only attracts the best and the brightest, but also retains them by fostering workplace cultures where everyone can thrive. Some of those activities fall under our All for Good Engineering for Inclusion campaign. Recent All for Good programs include our Rising Star Leadership Workshops for Women in Engineering and our Leadership Equity and Engineering Workshops, an executive development program for talented engineers from underrepresented groups. The changemakers you'll meet at our gala have distinguished themselves in these areas and many others. I hope that their stories inspire you to strengthen your connection with the chemical engineering community and the good work we do, and to share your support. With your involvement, we will continue to build bridges and reinforce the chemical engineering foundation to accomplish necessary change and even more good work. So thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy the gala.
Thank you, Dr. Alger. Before we continue, I'd like to mention that if you enjoyed our opening video, we have a challenge for you. Why not come with your own medley of engineering contributions and share your video with AIChE? After tonight's program, you can watch the video again on the AIChE Foundation's website, where you can also find information on how to submit your own video that answers the question, why chemical engineering? I'll mention again that donations to this evening's gala will fund programs to inspire a new generation of scholars to pursue careers in STEM. One program supported by our recent galas is AIChE's K-12 STEM Showcase, where chemical engineers demonstrate engineering principles to grade school students. Take a look.
As an individual, the AIChE K-12 initiative is really important to me because, growing up, I went to these sorts of events, and that's kind of what got me interested in science and ultimately engineering, and it's really what gave me mentors and role models to look up to.
For kids that feel that STEM and that kind of thing is all difficult and complicated, this will show them that it can actually be really fun. I love to do these kind of things because I can pour my imagination into them and really create something that might in the future help the environment.
I think that chemical engineers really help the society and help us have more convenient lives and better lives. It's very fun and inclusive to all different ages.
I've been teaching for a little over 20 years now, and when they get exposed to these type of opportunities, it allows them to be more motivated to continue to learn and to inspire them to be future leaders and future engineers, which is what we need in society.
It's fun and it's very educational. I would tell the other kids to come to this event because I think it's really cool, and you learn different things about it that I never knew, and I don't think that I would know if I didn't come to this event.
I myself am going to be looking for those events because everybody was just very kind, but also professional and very kid-friendly and very age-appropriate for my students, and every one of my students walked away just smiling and just happy. Same thing with the parents. The parents really had a great time talking to professionals and understanding the world of chemistry and engineering.
Go to one of these conventions. They're great, they're fun, they're just awesome.
Opening doors for a fully diverse next generation of engineers is one of the missions of the AIChE Foundation's Doing a World of Good campaign. And to talk a little bit more about doing a world of good and what it means to our community, I have the pleasure of introducing Bruce Chen, President of Chevron Chemical and Vice Chair of the AIChE Foundation. He has an update on the foundation along with a special honor to present. Bruce, welcome.
Thank you, Simone. It's great to be with all of you to hear the stories of our changemakers and to celebrate what the engineering community is achieving together. In a moment, I'll be introducing another changemaker, but first, let me tell you a little about AIChE's Doing a World of Good campaign and the special honor connected with it. The Foundation's Doing a World of Good campaign is strengthening the chemical engineering pipeline and making progress in areas that chemical engineers have identified as priorities, ranging from safety to STEM education to attracting and retaining the best and the brightest. Some of those projects fall under an associated campaign called All for Good, which focuses on challenges that women and underrepresented groups continue to face in the workforce. The foundation is grateful for its many supporters, and I will give a special salute to the members of the Doing the World of Good Founders Circle. The names of those Founders Circle organizations appear on screen this evening, and our community owes them much for their dedication and vision. Part of doing a world of good involves being a steward for the profession to ensure that the good works of chemical engineering continue. And so each year, the foundation presents its Doing a World of Good medal to one of the profession's leaders and for making a distinctive impact on engineering and society. This year, I am very pleased to announce that the AIChE Foundation is honoring Shark Yosef, a true force for change, who has worked to transform our workplaces and the profession in the areas of equity, diversity, and inclusion. Shark has spent decades in leadership roles in AIChE, culminating recently as chair of our foundation. But let me start with a career snapshot. Shark spent more than 30 years at Chevron, but it was his more recent role as Chevron's Vice President of Global Diversity that Shark was able to pursue his personal vision of a more inclusive and equitable corporate culture, one that reflects his conviction that diversity of thought and diversity of perspective leads to stronger, more competitive organizations. As leader of Chevron's diversity and inclusion and ombuds functions, he advocated for women and minority engineers in the oil and fuel industries and led strategic partnerships with universities and professional societies to affect this change. Within AIChE, for example, he helped establish the Societal Impact Operating Council, which oversees a breadth of human-facing institute activities. His championing of minorities and women in STEM professions has brought him accolades from a spectrum of organizations. But you don't have to take that alone. Let's hear from a number of people who have known Shark best.
When I first heard that Shark would be receiving the Doing a World of Good medal, my reaction was, well, that should really be doing worlds of good, because Shark has had such a positive impact in so many spheres of our lives.
So Shark is really internationally recognized, admired, and respected as both a thought leader and an action leader in equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Shark is just known for his tremendous graciousness, right? And his ability to carry himself with style and grace. And that tends to just pull people in.
Shark really stretched AIChE to become bigger and broader in our thinking.
Shark is an inspiration to all of us. He has been a great motivator, and we become excited because he is so excited about the possibilities of making our profession a much more diverse one.
I can't imagine where the foundation would be without Shark. His inspiration, vision, motivation, and leadership has helped drive the foundation to where we are today.
Shark, congratulations on this really terrific award that you've so richly deserved. You're a leader, you're an inspiration to all of us, you're a true friend.
I would love to just say to you, Shark, I appreciate you, man. You have been such a role model for me.
Congratulations, Shark. This is so well deserved.
Shark, I don't know who sent you to us, but we are very grateful that they did.
Shark, I cannot thank you enough for all of you have done for AIChE. And in making AIChE the chemical engineering community and the community that we work with a better place. You have made the world better and have done a world of good. Thank you.
By any measure, Shark Yosef embodies what it means to do a world of good, and it is a privilege for me to present him with this year's Doing a World of Good medal. Shark, congratulations.
Bruce, thank you very much for your kind remarks, and thank you for your leadership in diversity and inclusion and everything you do for our profession. I am deeply honored to be in the company of the distinguished men and women who have received this award before me, and I'm also humbled and honored to accept it, not only on my behalf, but on the behalf of many people and many organizations that have inspired me in this journey. At AIChE, not only the volunteer leaders like Pablo Di Benedetti, Eduardo Glant, Bruce Chin, whom you just heard from, and Pete Letterman, but also June Wispaway, Kathy Diana, Lisa Lankowski, Natalie Krauser, Bruce Arbit, and AIChE Mahmouda are all to be commended, as are some other organizations. But let me start with where I spent most of my adult life, which is at Chevron. And kudos to John Watson, to Mike Worth, to Joe Lehman, to Rhonda Morris, to Birgit Hergott, to Bruce Chin, to Brian Chase, and Jeet Bindra for leading the way in the profession and in the industry. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank some of my other colleagues in arts and education organizations, starting with Matthias Tarnopolsky of the Philadelphia Orchestra, led by the incomparable maestro Yannick Nessesegan, and also the Vice President of Ideas, Doris Parent. Thank you to my colleagues at the Berkeley Symphony, to Jeremy Geffen and Annette Coleman at Cal Performances, Matthew Schilbach at San Francisco Opera, President Michael Young at Texas A&M, Porter Garner, President of the Association of Former Students of Texas A&M, and the Chancellor of the University of California at Berkeley, Carol Christ. Thank you for inspiring me and your leadership in diversity and inclusion. I'm deeply honored to accept this award.
Shark, such a pleasure to be with you, at least virtually, today to help celebrate. Heartfelt congratulations from all of us at the Philadelphia Orchestra, an organization that you have positively and immeasurably changed. Personally, on behalf of a dear friend, I miss seeing you and hope that we can raise a glass together again soon. Anyhow, what better way to express our congratulations and appreciation than through music? This is for you.
That is a wonderful tribute to Shark Yosef Zai. And now that we've heard a little Bach, we hope that everyone will give a little back. And you can do that by donating to support our Gala fundraiser. The donation button appears at the top of your screen. AICHE's priority is safety, a subject that our next changemaker is passionate about. Let's meet Julianne Hensky.
Hi, my name is Jules Hensky. I'm a process safety manager at Unilever, a chemical engineer, and I'm one of AICHE's 35 under 35 for 2020. I want my professional legacy to be that I'm a relentless problem solver, and that each and every day I've shown my passion for people, safety, and sustainability. That I've taken every opportunity to drive businesses and programs to deliver the best possible consumer product good at the lowest environmental impact.
That was great. Julianne Hensky's dedication to safety and sustainability is shared by our Gala's next honoree. And to make that introduction, here's Erin Kane, President and CEO of AIChE.
Good evening. In keeping with our celebration of changemakers, our Gala will now shine a spotlight on two organizations that are shaping the future and improving quality of life. It is my honor to introduce the first. Sustainable engineering and practice have long been part of AICHE's vision for the chemical engineering profession. Through AICHE's Institute for Sustainability, a new credentialing program, and projects that emphasize resource efficiency, safety performance, product stewardship, and social responsibility, we are advancing sustainability as a key component of future chemical engineering innovation, underscoring all the other good works of the profession. With that in mind, the AICHE Foundation is recognizing DuPont, a major employer of chemical engineers, for its dedication to innovation and a sustainable path forward. Drawing inspiration from the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, DuPont has announced its own 2030 sustainability goals for the decade ahead. In addition to aligning the company's innovation portfolio with the UN Strategic Development Goals, DuPont's 2030 goals highlight a range of objectives. They integrate principles of the circular economy. They imagine designing all of the company's products and processes using sustainability criteria, including principles of green chemistry. They target greenhouse gas emissions by sourcing more electricity from renewable sources. They integrate new water strategies across all DuPont's facilities and include collaborations that improve access to clean water in communities. Also, beyond the company's commitment to zero injuries or incidents, DuPont is striving to be one of the world's most inclusive employers, offering workplaces where all employees can achieve professional fulfillment. DuPont's work to achieve these goals has already begun and continues right now, as described in this video.
50 years from now, our children will remember what we do today. They will measure us by how good, how real, and how brave we are right now. It's why at DuPont, we're turning our science and our innovations to creating a sustainable world, not tomorrow, but now. Now for the good of our climate and our water. Now for the advancement and safety of our products and everyone who depends on them. You see, now is not just the when, but the why. Because while we've always set out to create innovations that advance society, now we're determined to do the same for our products, our people, and our planet. It's time for action. It's time for courage. It's time to step up and be the generation of now.
This year, the AICHE Foundation honors DuPont for demonstrated leadership in the development of innovative, sustainable products. We offer our congratulations to DuPont and all its employees for their dedication to innovation and sustainability in helping to solve some of the world's greatest challenges. And to accept our congratulations, we are happy to welcome Edward D. Breen, DuPont's Executive Chairman and CEO. Ed, I turn the gala stage over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Let me start by saying I hope that you and your families are staying safe and healthy. Of course, I wish we could be together in person, but I am happy to join you virtually for this great annual event. The need for chemical engineers and the value of the AIChE organization is more evident than ever as we face the threats to our health and economy from COVID-19. At DuPont, we believe in the power of science and engineering to solve and scale solutions to the pandemic and many other challenges that face our world. And I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of all our employees. For those of you who don't know us well, let me provide a little background. In 2019, we created a truly new DuPont. We brought together great businesses from the former Dow and EI DuPont companies to create an innovation leader that serves customers in end markets from electronics and safety to transportation and water. Across the world, our 34,000 employees work toward a common purpose: to empower the world with the essential innovations to thrive. This year, I'm particularly proud of our Tyvek team, who have been working 24/7 to supply PPE to essential workers. Our engineers, manufacturing, and marketing teams have been doing all they can to increase the availability of protective garments, and to date, we've delivered more than 100 million Tyvek garments worldwide. It's extremely rewarding to see how we, along with Thermo Fisher and many others in industry, are stepping up to address the pandemic. But our deepest gratitude goes to the healthcare workers and frontline responders. 2020 has certainly reinforced why good health and well-being is one of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. As you just heard, a few months after launching the new DuPont, we announced our 2030 sustainability targets based on 3 pillars: innovation, operations, and people. As a company with deep science and engineering capabilities, I believe the biggest contribution DuPont can make is through innovation. This award for the development of innovative, sustainable products will provide further inspiration as we work with customers and other industry partners to address global needs, including connectivity, clean water, and advanced mobility. From an operations standpoint, we're looking at how we can reduce our own impact on climate and water and to enhance the safety of our plants. We've set some ambitious goals, but I know our engineers are up to the challenge. And in the end, any progress we make depends on people, and we're committed to ensuring inclusiveness, well-being, and health at DuPont and in our communities. This includes a strong focus on racial equity, and together as an industry, we can make a difference. This year, we faced a global pandemic, raging wildfires, and the most active hurricane season on record. If 2020 has shown us anything, it's that we can't wait for a better future. We need to invent a better now. To all of the change makers out there, we salute you. Thank you to AIChE and all its members for this wonderful recognition, and congratulations to Mark Casper and Shark Yosef on your distinguished service. Thank you.
In this year of the pandemic, the need for engineering innovation may be more crucial than ever. And it's good to know that the next generation of chemical engineers is up to the task. Let's meet our next change maker.
Looking back on my life and career, I hope I'll find that the spaces that I've occupied have been influenced to become kinder and more inclusive as we move towards technical solutions for problems that society is facing and must overcome. I think that the profession of chemical engineering has just an amazing potential to continue on a really positive trajectory and moving our world forward. And each one of us has to continue focusing both professionally and personally to always be doing a world of good.
Thank you, Tenny. This year, every one of us was forced by circumstances to reinvent our day-to-day lives in order to move towards a more hopeful tomorrow. Our next Changemaker organization has distinguished itself not only through its response to COVID, but in many other ways. And to introduce our honoree, let's hear from Michael Thiem, Senior Vice President at Merck & Company. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Simone. As I work for a company that develops innovative medicines and vaccines, I know the spectrum of activities that are required to engineer medical innovations for the biopharmaceutical industry. This work requires a huge array of equipment, consumables, and services, from lab equipment to pilot scale activities to in-house manufacturing consumables. All of this is required for us to bring our innovations to patients in a safe, reliable, and affordable way. We rely on the support of those who can provide that equipment, consumables, and services while having the patient in mind. And this brings us to our honoree. The COVID-19 crisis has compelled every one of us to refocus our lives and our priorities. From research institutions to multinationals, talented engineers and innovative companies have been working on solutions to this pandemic. Among the standout organizations in this effort is Thermo Fisher Scientific. Tonight, we recognize Thermo Fisher Scientific for its leadership in accelerating access to COVID-19 testing and vaccine development. Every day, its 80,000 employees work to fulfill the company's mission to enable its customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. The past year showed us that this mission is more relevant than ever. Thermo Fisher provides a range of products and services that accelerate life sciences research, solve complex analytical challenges, improve patient diagnostics and therapies, increase productivities in labs, and provide contract manufacturing services. The company is known as the world leader in serving science, and it's easy for us to understand why. Thermo Fisher was one of the first companies to receive emergency use authorization for its PCR-based diagnostic test for COVID-19, which made the test available in more than 50 countries. And more recently, Thermo Fisher announced 2 new antibody tests, as well as a partnership to increase the availability of COVID-19 testing options, including at-home sample collection. These are just the latest examples of the company's response to the pandemic, which has also included technologies for researching the virus, personal protective equipment, and services for vaccine development and manufacturing. Thermo Fisher continues to partner with governments and industry to help protect society and ultimately help us put the pandemic behind us. Our friends at Thermo Fisher sent us a short film that highlights the company's efforts in developing therapies and vaccines. Let's see the film.
I got a call that my father-in-law was feeling under the weather, that it was probably nothing, but he was going to get tested, wanted to let everyone know. That next morning, I woke up with a cough. I called my doctor, and I was so short of breath, and she said, Amber, you have to leave your house in the next 5 minutes. So my husband took me to the hospital. Yes, I had COVID, I had pneumonia, and then they told my husband he had to leave. As the days progressed, the doctor came in and told me, you're not getting any better. We have to go to something different. And there's no way of knowing how your body will respond until you get the treatment. The gravity of making that decision was so heavy on me because I understood if I make the wrong decision, my children grow up without a mother. Situations like this, experiences like this make you realize that every person's job matters. All companies say they have a mission. For most companies, that's just words on a piece of paper. But this made it real to me. The company has worked so hard to deliver a drug, and it really does make our mission real to me.
This year, the AIChE Foundation honors Thermo Fisher Scientific for leadership in addressing global healthcare challenges, and in particular, for the company's engagement across industry and agencies to help drive progress in combating the COVID-19 pandemic. And here to accept our congratulations is Mark Casper, Thermo Fisher Scientific's Chairman, President, and CEO. Mark, congratulations.
Good evening. It's a great pleasure to be with you tonight, even if it's only virtually. First, I'd like to thank Mike Thien for his very kind words. And on behalf of our 75,000 colleagues who made our achievement possible, I want to thank the American Institute of Chemical Engineers for recognizing Thermo Fisher. It's an understatement to say that we're living in an extraordinary time. Extraordinary for the health crisis we are facing, and extraordinary for the way that science has responded. While it may not always feel like it, we've made great strides in the last 10 months, thanks to the innovation and tenacity of scientists and chemical engineers like you. Patients are being treated more effectively, and promising vaccines have been developed at a speed never seen before. These advancements will ultimately end the pandemic. And we at Thermo Fisher are so proud to support this work. Our mission is to enable our customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. And our response to the pandemic is the most profound example of how we fulfill it each and every day. We've been involved in many aspects of the global response, supporting research of the virus, diagnostic testing, and the development of treatments and vaccines, and ultimately producing them on behalf of the biotech and pharmaceutical industry. We were ready for this role because we've built the world leader in serving science and created a culture where our teams could pivot quickly to meet our customers and society's needs. This year has certainly been a blur. When the pandemic first emerged back in January, we immediately mobilized a 24/7 operation to support hospitals and clinical labs across China. And we worked closely with their CDC. Scientists and medical professionals relied on our PCR workflows to detect the virus and our next-generation sequencing instruments to understand it. Around the world, researchers used our cryo-electron microscopes to determine the structure of the virus's spike protein. In the past, achieving this level of understanding would have taken years. Instead, it took less than 2 months. These findings accelerated the development of treatments and vaccines. We also knew that a diagnostic testing strategy was critical to stop the spread. So we quickly ramped up our capability, developing a COVID-19 molecular diagnostic test kit. This development was a real team effort, involving our own scientists and engineers, as well as incredible collaboration with governments and regulatory bodies around the world. And once we received the regulatory approval in March, we quickly ramped up manufacturing and helped customers get their labs ready to handle the significant testing volume. We have scaled our capabilities throughout the past year so that today we can produce in excess of 20 million diagnostic kits a week to detect COVID-19. Beyond testing, Thermo Fisher is also supporting so many of the pharmaceutical and biotech industry's most promising therapy and vaccine candidates across the world. In fact, we're working on more than 250 of these projects, providing services for the development and manufacturing, as well as supporting clinical trials. We're also learning from this health crisis to prepare for the future and are working with governments globally to expand our capabilities across the company to be ready. These are just a few examples of how our global team is making an impact in the current crisis and improving healthcare overall. As the world leader in servant science, we know our responsibility to society goes beyond providing products and services. That's why we've made such a strong commitment to STEM education at the corporate level and through the activities of our colleague-run community action councils at our sites. We've recently taken steps to multiply that impact by launching our Foundation for Science, which will increase our support of STEM education, particularly in underserved communities. I'm especially proud of our involvement with historically Black colleges and universities to create more opportunities for all. This included the launch of the JUST project this year, which is named after pioneering biologist Ernest Everett Just. This project supports the safe return of students and staff to their schools. We're pleased to have donated more than $25 million in COVID-19 diagnostic instruments, test kits, and related supplies, and provide technical assistance for on-campus testing. But back to where I started. None of this would be possible without Thermo Fisher's global team. Every day I'm awed by their talent and their passion for helping our customers solve the world's most pressing challenges. They are my greatest source of inspiration, and I'm humbled to lead them. So on their behalf, I thank you for this tremendous honor.
We're just moments away from our biggest announcement of the night. But before we get here, here's one more opportunity for you to donate. This is just a reminder that your donation tonight will support our programs to attract and retain students from underrepresented communities pursuing careers in STEM fields. And now, let's meet one more change maker who is making his own chemical engineering impact on students and society.
I'm a proud chemical engineer. I was trained as a chemical engineer at University of California, Riverside, and I was drawn to the field for its combination of chemistry and physics and design to help improve society and the impact that chemical engineering has on the whole world's economy. So I'm out here in a corn maze, and of course, to the Haber-Bosch process, chemical engineers make a profound impact on agriculture, as well as many other fields, figuratively and literally. Chemical engineers are truly a force for good, from helping to drive the world's economy and energy and environment, and helping to tackle some of the world's largest problems. So I really can't think of a better job than being a professor and being a chemical engineer, and I'm proud to be part of AIChE.
Thank you, Dr. Goldsmith. And so we've arrived at our gala's big moment. This evening, we've talked about the power of and need for transformative change. This includes change in the STEM professions. We're a new and diverse pool of talent with fresh approaches, experiences, and knowledge will be needed to address truly global challenges ahead of us. So, how do we end our night that changes everything? By announcing an initiative that truly will change everything for the future generations in STEM. And to introduce our plan, here's the president and CEO of the Chemours Company, Mark Vergnano.
Thank you, Simone. It's such a pleasure to be part of this 2020 AIChE Gala. I'd like to extend my personal congratulations to this evening's honorees and to thank everyone for joining us. 2020 has been a year like no other. We will forever remember the challenges that we've all faced this year. But what gives me hope and inspiration is the willingness we've seen from people in our communities and in our industry to step up and help each other when it absolutely matters the most. There's also nothing like a global pandemic to underscore that those who study science, our doctors, our nurses, researchers, lab technicians, chemists, and those up and down the supply chain play an absolutely vital role in our society. When we invest in our emerging scientists, technicians, engineers, and mathematicians, we invest in tomorrow's heroes, those able to solve complex problems and make the world not only a better place, but a safer place. And as many of you know, Demand for talent in scientific fields at companies like ours is increasing faster and faster. In the next decade, we expect some 800,000 new STEM jobs to be created in the U.S. alone, which means we need more students to study STEM than ever before. So why is tonight the night that changes everything? In large part, it's because of a $1 million idea. In fact, thanks to many of you at this gala, that's already become a multi-million-dollar idea. That idea is our new industry-wide effort to invest in a highly talented and diverse future workforce through a program we're calling the Future of STEM Scholars Initiative, or FOSSI for short. FOSSI is our industry-wide initiative to provide scholarships, internships, mentorships, and leadership development for students pursuing STEM degrees at historically Black colleges and universities. The specific idea for FOSSI started in earnest this summer at the American Chemistry Council, when leaders across our industry started talking about ways to ensure the future of our workforce is not only robust, but also equitable, diverse, and inclusive. I want to thank our ACC board, particularly our working group on this topic, which included Jim Fitterling from Dow, Daryl Roberts from DuPont, Karen McKee from ExxonMobil, Chris John from the ACC, and myself from Chemours. Ultimately, we found the confluence of events in the industry and the world this year to be the right time to launch an industry-wide effort that could meet the growing demand for STEM talent by tapping into the highly talented groups of students that our industry desperately wants to hire. Guided by a common purpose to make a real difference in the industry, we found a natural partner in the AIChE, which has been long engaged in doing a world of good. Together, with the collective might of our industry behind it, we have been thrilled to launch the Future of STEM Scholars Initiative, which not only will provide scholarships and career opportunities to students who want to study STEM fields at historically Black colleges and universities, but more importantly, will change our industry and the lives of hundreds, perhaps thousands, of highly talented and richly deserving students. Thanks to many of you, we are already off to a great start, which you can see in the following video.
Dear Ayana, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and our President, Dr. Harry L. Williams, it is a pleasure of the Office of Admissions to Delaware State University to extend an offer of admissions to you for the fall of 2018 semester. I'm really about to go to college soon. This is reality. This is real life.
Given the opportunity to pursue a STEM education at historically Black colleges and universities, the best and brightest students have a greater chance of graduating college and excelling in the profession.
I love the idea of an HBCU. It's a historically Black college university.
There's so much history that goes into those schools. It's part of my history.
I just feel really happy and blessed to go to HBCU, and I want to get a chance to experience my community.
I love engineering because we're able to take issues that are happening in our world and to fix it through science and math.
I really want to help people that have disabilities and that can't do the same things I can do. What I would like to solve with engineering is to make a more eco-friendly environment.
The American Chemistry Council, AIChE, Chemours, and HBCU Week Foundation have joined together to create a national program to provide scholarships, internships, leadership development, and mentoring opportunities to students from underrepresented communities pursuing STEM degrees.
To be able to have such a financial burden taken off of us is just amazing.
To be not only a young woman interested in STEM, but to be a young African-American woman interested in STEM, I realized that I am the minority, and I realized that I will have to work harder than most, but that's a challenge that I'm definitely willing to take.
I'm just grateful that this scholarship is going to take a burden off my mother because she didn't get the chance to go to college because she ended up having me at an early age. So I'm like, okay, this is my time to make my mom proud.
Introducing the Future of STEM Scholars Initiative, a comprehensive new program to increase the number of professionals from underrepresented communities in the STEM workforce and drive industry-wide improvement in equity, diversity, and inclusion.
We believe that science is for everyone, and we believe in STEM for all.
We may not know what the next big breakthrough will be, but we do know that by opening the doors of the profession to a more diverse group, we're opening the doors of possibility.
When you think about it, the future of innovation depends on opening the doors of opportunity for all.
Isn't that wonderful? Our potential working together in this effort isn't just exciting, it's absolutely game-changing. When we support these deserving students, we change their lives for the better, encouraging both their potential and ours. And as a partnership between Chemours, ACC, AIChE, and the HBCU Week Foundation, we intend to deliver on our goals. In our inaugural year alone, our goal is to fund 150 scholars. Our participating companies will then offer internships, mentoring, and career development opportunities to help connect these students to jobs in the industry. In just the first few weeks since our launch, your response has been extraordinary. I'd like to thank everyone who has helped us get the ball rolling with a commitment of any size. Already, we've raised millions of dollars for more than 100 scholarships. I'd like to encourage all members of the ACC and the AIChE family to join us in this effort. Add your company's name to this growing list. You can help us ensure that tonight's the night that changes everything by lending your support. Every contribution, large and small, is helping us create the future that we want to see. You can learn more about FOSSI at the AIChE website. And also, feel free to reach out to me directly. Let's work together to make FOSSI a huge success. Now it's my pleasure to introduce June Wispelway. June is AIChE's Executive Director and CEO, who has more to say about our FOSSI collaboration and tonight's gala. June?
Thank you, Mark. It's gratifying to join you at Chemours, Chris John of ACC, and the HBCU Week Foundation in launching FOSSI. Together, we're paving the way for countless underrepresented minority students to pursue careers in STEM. The early leadership support has been outstanding, and we look forward to welcoming many more industry partners. To me, the night that changes everything perfectly sums up our profession's collective optimism and our responsibility to positively impact society. So, while we're not physically together, we're united in our vision of the future, our lifelong quest for knowledge, and the desire to do valuable works that benefit all of society. Put another way, I'm proud and thankful to be a chemical engineer. I'm also thankful for and inspired by our Gala honorees. Thank you to our Doing a World of Good medalist, Shark Yosef, for being a friend to the AIChE community and for embodying our shared values and ideals, notably in his work to achieve equity and inclusion in chemical engineering. Thanks to DuPont and its employees for being a model of sustainable progress and for partnering with AIChE in many of our most important initiatives. Thank you, Thermo Fisher Scientific, for addressing global health challenges that all of us face today and for advancing smart, innovative solutions. And to the leaders of the AIChE Foundation, Chair Pablo Di Benedetti, Vice Chair Bruce Chin, and the Foundation Board of Trustees. My gratitude for their guidance and dedication knows no bounds. To our dinner gala chairs, Aaron Kane of Advancic, Paul Parker of Thermo Fisher Scientific, Darryl Roberts of DuPont, John Televantos of Arsenal Capital Partners, and Michael Thean of Merck & Company. I can't thank you enough for building enthusiasm and support within our community. To our gala sponsors, Founder Circle companies, the Future of STEM Scholars Initiative early leaders, and to all our donors, your support of the Doing a World of Good campaign is advancing the profession and bringing about positive change everywhere. And finally, I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation to you, our community around the world, for joining us tonight in our celebration. I hope this gala inspired you, encouraged you, and motivated you to take your own next steps in making the world a better place.
See, I told you that this is the night that changes everything. Wow. You can learn how to support the Future of STEM Scholars initiatives at AICHE.org/FOSSI. And now, speaking on behalf of the gala organizers, we thank you for all of your support this evening. I'm pleased to tell you that this year's gala has already raised over $600,000, and your generous gifts keep coming in. Thank you for your generosity and thank you for your support. Now, this is the way to close a gala on a high note. And it's a testimony to you. It's a testimony to the changemakers. We are so very grateful for your generosity. So please stay with us. Our festivities are going to continue at our after party and dessert reception, where you can participate in a discussion about the FOSSI program. And best of all, it is free to all, sponsored by our friends at the American Chemistry Council. Now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Ashley Christopher, CEO of HBCU Week Foundation, which is a founding partner of FOSSI. Ashley will moderate a discussion about the exciting new initiative and its potentiality for transformative impact. Until I see you there, I am Simone D. Ross, and it has been a pleasure sharing tonight's journey with you.
My apologies, I was muted. Good evening, my name is Ashley Christopher and I am the president and CEO of HBCU Week Foundation, where our mission is to encourage enrollment into HBCUs, provide scholarship dollars for matriculation, and sustain a pipeline of employment from undergraduate school to corporate America. Just a very brief history lesson on HBCUs. HBCUs, most of them were founded post-Civil War in response to legalized segregation. In short, African American students were prohibited by law from matriculating into higher education institutions, so we had to create our own. Although HBCUs today account for just 3% of colleges and universities nationwide, they're responsible for 80% of Black judges, 75% of Black PhDs, 50% of Black engineers, 50% of Black attorneys, and the list goes on. They provide a space for African American students for the first and likely only time to not be the minority. And today they graduate some of the best and the brightest, including our Vice President-elect, Kamala Harris, ESPN's Stephen A. Smith, Spike Lee, Samuel L. Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, Thurgood Marshall, the list goes on. So this evening, we're going to discuss the importance of diversity in STEM and how the HBCU experience plays an integral role in that experience. Our panelists tonight are going to include Chris John, the President and CEO of the American Chemistry Council, Darryl Roberts, the Chief Operations and Engineering Officer at DuPont, and Ozem Anye Franklin, a student at Prairie View A&M University studying chemical engineering. So before we kick this discussion off, I just want to pass it over to Chris for some brief comments.
Thank you, Ashley. First, I'd like to congratulate all of tonight's honorees. The men and women of the chemical industry are contributing incredible new innovations that will change the lives of millions. These change makers are exactly what the world needs to address the economic environmental challenges that the world faces. ACC and our member companies are committed to working with our communities to shape a brighter future for everyone. This commitment cannot be realized without addressing diversity, equity, and inclusion. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, nearly 79% of chemical manufacturing employees are white. Conversely, we know that creating diversity builds stronger companies. So we must do more, and we will do more to encourage a diverse set of individuals to join our industry and to become the change makers you see today. But in order to do so, we must also recognize the educational and economic opportunity gaps that many underrepresented communities face and work collaboratively to address them. So that's why ACC and our members came together along with AIChE to develop and launch the Future of STEM Scholars Initiative. FOSSI recognizes and rewards demonstrated achievement and future potential of students that have historically been overlooked and underrepresented. FOSSI has the prospect of one day transforming our industry by ensuring a robust pipeline of talent that brings not only diversity of race and ethnicity, but diversity of thought and perspective as well. By coming together with organizations like AIChE and the HBCU Week Foundation, we can provide support and resources to students that need them most and make a meaningful impact on their lives and their futures. So ACC is proud to be a founding partner in the Future of STEM Scholars Initiative, and I'm thrilled to be part of this panel tonight. So thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Chris. So first, my question is going to go to Ozem. So tell us how your life was impacted by your scholarship award and why it was important for you to attend an HBCU.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for this opportunity. It's not one that I take for granted. So to kindly answer your question, I will say at the time I had just decided to stop running track and field for my university. So I had made a promise to my parents that they would not pay for college. So I went and I discussed with my advisors, how can I get, what scholarship do I need to apply for so that I can cover the rest of my tuition? And, I had a fantastic advisor at the time. He introduced me to AIChE, and that was how I got introduced. Being part of an HBCU or going to an HBCU means so much to me because I'm growing with everyone that looks just like me. I'm successful with everyone that looks just like me. There's no competition. There's no need to hide. There's no need to be afraid because we're all in this together and we're trying to go out there and make a name for not just us, but men and women of our skin color. So I am truly honored and privileged to attend the HBCU that I attend right now because the Ozem that entered in 2017 is definitely a different Ozem that's graduating in 2021. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can attest to that. As a double HBCU alum myself, I can attest to the growth and the experience that you evolve from in attending an HBCU. So I appreciate that response. Now I'd like to kick it over to Daryl. What advice would you give young people who are contemplating a career in STEM? And could you offer information on how diverse STEM careers could be?
Well, thank you for the question. I would say two things. If you think about the early years in a STEM curriculum, sometimes that's when students of color have the most problems. Sometimes it's because many of us come from high schools that don't have really strong STEM programs. So I'd say don't be afraid to get a little extra help. Don't be afraid to take that 3 or 4 week program that many schools now offer before freshman year to brush up on a specific topic. Going into those first couple of years and not letting those weed out classes remove you from a STEM education is really important. We find that that's the biggest problem is individuals getting through that first couple semesters of math, of hard science. And if we can do that, then students tend to do pretty well. So I'd say find a way to stick in there, reinforce your fundamentals because that'll carry you through a program. Later in your career, I think it's really important to find an opportunity to get an internship or co-op. A number of the companies that are here today really rely on that as a source of employees. So exposing yourself to individual companies very early on in your career, I think, is critical to success. If you think about STEM today, to me, it impacts everything. If you think about where we're going with robotics, if you think about the classic areas of chemical engineering and energy and other materials, we see that the STEM fields are now the root of everything that we're doing. Even industries that weren't impacted and didn't hire large number of STEM professionals do now. So I think the opportunities are now boundless. This is probably a better time than any to get into the STEM field.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Daryl. My next question is going to be for Chris. Why should future STEM scholars want to work in the chemical industry, and how can the industry engage with underrepresented communities, to enhance diversity in the industry?
If you're interested in tackling the world's biggest challenges and having an impact on the world at large, then the chemical industry is where it's at, literally. So we've heard a little bit earlier today about COVID-19 response, for example, or if you care about, you're passionate about climate change. The innovations that the world of chemistry brings to bear are addressing the world's biggest challenges right now. So if you want to have an impact, the chemical industry is the place to be. And so FOSSI is a great example of how industry action can make a meaningful difference to help create diversity and inclusion within the industry. But that's not enough. We at ACC are trying to take what we're calling a classroom to boardroom approach to this. And so we're proud to be supporters of FOSSI and help to get folks into the industry. But we're also taking a look at programs that we can provide to help folks once they're in the industry to help them advance and succeed. And then, so somebody like Daryl who's had tremendous success, how can they follow in his footsteps going forward? And so we're going to be excited to announce some new programs next year along these lines. So we're working on it hard.
Sounds good, Chris. I appreciate that. So Ozem, back to you. Tell us what you plan to do with your STEM education.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. So I'm actually taking an unconventional route. So I do plan on becoming a patent lawyer. That's something I've kind of always wanted to be. I wanted to be a lawyer before I wanted to be an engineer. And then when I found out that I could integrate them both, I decided that was the best fit for me. So upon graduating, I'll be going to pursue my master's. And then right after, I'll be getting ready to enter law school so I can become a patent attorney. Thank you.
Very exciting. Congratulations in advance, because I know you'll do amazing things.
Thank you.
And this next question is for everybody. What do you think is the biggest misconception about STEM? So Chris, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Daryl and then Ozem.
So I think Ozem just was a great example of it. I think one of the misconceptions is if you go into a STEM field that you're pigeonholed for your career, and that, if you're an engineer, you're always an engineer. And, look, she's going to be a patent lawyer. I mean, that's a kind of an off-book type of experience, right? But when you think about it, it makes sense. And so if you look at ACC and our members, and you look at the folks in the C-suite, our CEOs, a number of them have STEM backgrounds, but they worked in a variety of functions to get up to the C-suite, whether it was sales, operations, and other parts of their companies. And, you need to be well-rounded to be able to advance in corporations in America. And so this gives you a great foundation to build on, and then you add sets of skills as you advance in your career. So it doesn't pigeonhole you. It actually creates a lot of opportunities. As Daryl said, it opens a lot of doors. There's 800,000 jobs out there right now that we're looking for people to fill in STEM fields.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, Daryl, what about you?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I would add to that. I think a misconception is that I can either go and be an engineer or go into a science field, or I can go save the world. And I would tell you that the two are interconnected. If you think about people in the STEM fields, lightweighting materials so that we have a more energy efficient environment, increasing the yields of our crops around the world so that we address food insecurities around the world. If you think about providing clean water sources, many of those things that our big global problems are solved by engineers and people in the technical fields. So I think some think that going into the hard sciences doesn't allow you to really fulfill a career which is really focused on helping others. And I think the engineering and the other hard sciences are actually the perfect place to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I think both gentlemen here on this call have answered very, very well, because I definitely had the same misconception. So I'll bring something a bit different. I think the biggest misconception is that engineers don't have people skills or social skills. And I think that is completely a lie, because in order for us to advance, we have so many things we have to advance. We have to create a cure for COVID. We have to create, different things that require teamwork. If you don't know how to communicate with somebody, how do we pass one initiative to another person so we can, achieve that bigger goal? So I think that's one of the biggest thing I would tell anybody out there is, if you don't have social skills, when you're in college, you'll definitely learn it, but you're not going to walk out with no social skills at all.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. So we did receive 2 questions from the audience, one for our scholar and another for our executives. I'll start with the executives first, and then Daryl, you can answer, and then we'll pass it to Chris. So that question is, from your experience, why is a STEM career valuable, and can you share a personal example?
Sure. If I go back to my early days at Howard University and remembering kind of the struggles of college life, as well as kind of dealing with the difficult curriculum, one of the things that I learned from that education was that it really teaches you the process of problem solving. And it's more than just the technical nature of the degree. It's developing a way that you think about problems, analyzing them, and solving them in a methodical manner, which you then apply to everything in life. And as I've walked through my life, there's been more value for me in that than anything. When I have an issue about how I'm going to deal with my finances and how I'm going to get through struggles when I was in my 20s, it was me thinking through and being solution oriented. As I moved through life and I thought about where I wanted to live and how I made decisions and how I built my career and how I pivoted from job to job and at times from different companies, it was about me thinking through and being kind of solution oriented. So I think the problem solving nature of what you learn in engineering, you can apply to everything that you do in life. And I think it's the one thing that threads through individuals that are in engineering and other technical subjects that are successful about problems, and they analyze them and solve them in a very methodical manner. And I think that goes to everything.
What a very beneficial skill set to have, I'd say.
Absolutely. And just to kind of build off of what Daryl said there is, from our perspective here at the American Chemistry Council, the value of this STEM career is, as I said before, 800,000 jobs available right now for folks. So it opens doors that you couldn't possibly imagine, to create an impact on the world. And so, for example, at AIChE, we employ toxicologists, chemical engineers, chemists, all kinds of people with technical skills who all live and work in Washington, D.C. to try to create better policy and better frameworks for the country so that we can solve some of these challenges going forward. My guess is none of our employees with technical skills at AIChE first thought getting into a STEM field that they were going to end up working for a trade association that represents the interests of the industry. But yet we've got, all kinds of people with that background who are great advocates for the industry and doing a super job for people like me who are a political science major. And I say science in air quotes compared to all you really smart people. But, that's what we do. That's what we're created for. And so, again, you just don't know what the doors that are going to be open if you go down this path. And it's just really exciting to see what the possibilities are.
Yeah, and it's so interesting listening to all your feedback, the diverse and variety of answers. I'm an attorney by trade. I do not practice traditionally. And that just goes to show, same thing. You will never find me in a courtroom, but I use the skill set that I developed in law school to help me on my career path. So I appreciate this feedback. It's very engaging. And I'll transition over to our scholar. The audience question for you is, what advice would you give to your peers that may or may not be considering to choose STEM as for their path in their college career?
Okay. And I think I'll start in a broader spectrum here is no matter what you decide to do, just know that you can do it. You know, you can most definitely do it. We have our very first African American woman as our vice president of the United States. So the sky is not even the limit at all. So you can do whatever you put your mind to. But for those that are considering STEM, I would say one of the biggest advice I can give you is make sure that you understand the type of STEM you want to do. Make sure you have a clear understanding on the field. Make sure you have a clear understanding on the location, on the field, because it's very important that you pick the right degree. Because if you don't pick the right degree, then you might end up not liking it. And these are 4 years that you're going to spend with people, with advisors, with peers. Make sure you pick the degree that is beneficial and means a lot to you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I do have one final question for everybody. It's a variation of the question for each of you. So for Ozem, your question is, in one word, describe the person you aspire to be. So you can think about it for a few seconds.
Okay.
Daryl, your question is, in one word, describe the person that DuPont aspires to be. And Chris, in one word, what the industry should aspire to be. So just one word if you can. If you need a few seconds, we can smile at each other while you're getting the one word in your mind, and we can kick it off. Who's ready to go first?
Ladies first.
Yeah.
I do have a question, Ashley. Can I maybe elaborate a bit more why I picked that word, or just one word?
Yes, you sure can. You can elaborate on the word. Go ahead.
I think the word that I would use to describe me and future me is determined. I have gone through some of the worst things that most people my age would have never expected to, or even think in their life to go through. And the fact that I'm sitting here today, the fact that I'm talking to, men and women that have made it in life, have accomplished things that I can only wish and pray and hope to accomplish. It shows how much of my determination, or how much of that determination that I have. So determined would definitely be the word I would use to describe me. Thank you.
Awesome. Daryl, you want to go next?
Sure. I think for DuPont, the word would be inclusive. And if I think about everything that we're trying to build, trying to accomplish, it stands on our people. And if we don't have a diverse workforce from all types of skills, from across the country, from across the world, with all types of backgrounds, we won't be successful. We want to solve big global problems. And to do that, you've got to have people from all walks of life. So the more we can address the social inequities that we see in society, get more people of color into the workforce, and use that to balance the way that we think, it'll help us with our innovation process. It'll help us with everything that we want to do to make the world a better place. So I would say, without any doubt, being inclusive is part of our foundation.
Awesome answer. And what about you, Chris?
And my word is sustainable. And there's multiple definitions of that, right? So it's the sustainable in the environmental sense of the word, and all that our industry does in addressing some of our challenges in air quality, water quality, climate change, for example, just to name a couple. But it also is sustainable in terms of being successful in business going forward. And we know that creating a more diverse workforce going forward, including in our leadership and our governance, is part of being sustainable for the long term. So I think that's very relevant to what both Ozem and Daryl have just said. So it's sustainable.
Yeah. Well, listen, Chris, Daryl, Ozem, I have had the most delightful experience moderating this panel. I appreciate your feedback. What an enlightening conversation that we've had here today. Thank you to all of the sponsors who have tuned in and that have donated to this FOSSI initiative. We are on our way to really changing the lives to a lot of students of a lot of students who will be matriculating into HBCUs and starting on their STEM careers. And it's not too late. If any companies are tuned in and they have not participated or decided as of yet, it is not too late. Please reach out and let us know. And we are happy to include you on the path forward. Thanks again for a beautiful night, and many blessings to you all in this holiday season. Stay safe and have a great evening.